Stream our content 24/7 at luinfo.com. The Lou Information Station. The Lou Information Station presents Miz-Zou. Now, here's your host, Grant Salzman.
And welcome into another edition of Miz-Zou. I'm Grant Salzman, joined as always by the former Tiger, Vic Faust. This is the Lou Information Station. We're live and on demand at luinfo.com. If you want to call in with the Mizzou opinion, you can at 855-282-8255. We're live on YouTube at Lou Info. Tune in there. We'll read all your comments, or you can text in at 314-590-3770. Vic Faust, how are we this morning on this beautiful Monday morning? And if I'm not mistaken, we only have, it's the 11th. Mm-hmm. We will have, what, two more shows?
Yeah, two more shows before the game.
Until football season?
Yeah,
until we're there.
Holy moly, it's coming down the track. Hello, Mizzou fans. Hope you're doing good on a Monday.
We're doing well.
Yeah, it's so much better when you have things to look forward to. I can't remember where I saw it, bud, but I thought I saw two writers or podcasters, bloggers said they felt Missouri was being overlooked.
I think they are.
And I'm like, that's right. That makes me feel good.
We have a good show today. We're going to talk some Mizzou, obviously Mizzou football, break down a new hire the Tigers made, and Quentin Corpuel of the Columbia Missourian. He has been at all the fall camps, fall practices. He will be talking to us about what he's seen, including this last week. This week is what I have heard is called Execution Week by the Missouri staff. Why would you say, why is it called Execution Week?
Because you know what that is? The reason is that you can do a play 100%. You can have 10 guys do exactly what they're supposed to do, and one dude doesn't, and it messes up the entire play. It's why it's the greatest team sport, in my humble opinion. Football. Execution, doing exactly what the coaches tell you to do. It means not running a route 8 yards when it's supposed to be ran 10, not running a route 9 yards when it's supposed to be run 10. It's about having all of the technique that when you block, your hands where they are, execution. And you know what most of execution is? It's mental. It's all about your mind. Most of the guys can do the plays. Execution most of the time has nothing to do with the physicality. It has everything to do with your mental psyche and what you can do. My coach, my position coach, I'll never forget, Andy Moeller, back to the days of Larry Smith, went on to coach in the NFL for a while. He's like, I know you. He was the son of Gary Moeller, or son of Gary Moeller, who coached at Michigan. I know you can run into a brick wall, Faust, but how many times are you going to be able to run through that brick wall and then go back and do exactly the same thing with your technique and run the route 5 yards and break off? Those sorts of things. Mental. Most of these games, it's in your head.
Elijah Trinket said, we go another week. Execution week, I think, is really going to be important for everybody, because now we find out who's going to be consistent, who's going to be able to stick to it. This is kind of that rigor getting ready for the SEC. It's the last full week of camp. So you go this week, then next week, I would assume, is kind of the practice schedule again. It's as if next week you're practicing with a bye week, kind of, and then it's a shortened game week even. So your game week's elongated almost. It's like you have 10 days of game week instead of the normal 5, 6.
I don't know this for certain, but I'd be surprised if they're not also implementing something against Kansas.
Yes. Next week, I would assume. This week, I think, will still be camp, right?
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is, as they get ready for Central Arkansas, they're also getting ready for Kansas.
Because let's be honest, Missouri can probably beat Central Arkansas if you and me were on the sideline. You roll the ball out there.
Is there a point spread for that game yet?
I don't know.
No, I'd just be shocked if they're not doing some sort of Kansas install already.
I mean, these games are tough with the point spread, because who knows how long Mizzou's going to go all out for. And you would imagine it's going to be the most vanilla plays you'll see all year from the Tigers as well.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but once again, how prolific is the offense going to be? I mean, I'm hopeful, my friend, but you know how I feel about Brady Cook, and I will talk about him in a second. I felt like they were able to get a lot out of their offense last year, and I'm not quite sure you're going to see as a prolific offense and not throwing the ball. You're not. You're just not.
This is going to be a back to 2 years ago type of offense with how run heavy I think it'll be.
They may show some really good things against Central Arkansas, but we'll have more of an idea who they are as an offense against Kansas in week 2.
Because let's be honest, a lot of teams can put up 35, 42.
Let's hope.
Central Arkansas.
Let's hope.
And I'm saying if Missouri, let's say they go out and put up 30, they win 42-10 against Central Arkansas, just a random number. Does that really, the offense scored 6 touchdowns against an FCS school? I don't know if that will really, how good that will make you feel. Let's talk about some former Tigers who were getting in on some preseason action. I'll read you a few performances on offense. Brady Cook went 6 for 8, 62 yards and a couple drives for the New York Jets. Harrison Mevis on that same Jets team went 3 for 3 on field goal attempts. Cody Schrader got a little bit of a chance with the Rams, 5 carries, 59 yards, including a 9-yard receiving touchdown. And Tyler Beatty in a crowded Broncos running back room went 5 carries, 32 yards. Chris Abrams-Strain defended a pass. Tyron Hopper for the Packers, 8 tackles.
I know. He's a player, though.
He is.
When he's healthy. We didn't even get to see the end of him at Mizzou.
No. And then Connor Bazelak went 6 for 9 for 48 yards.
Isn't that interesting?
Very former Tiger. I would be his odds of making that Buccaneers team are very low. But hey, good for him bouncing around. Who knows what he'll be.
You know what the best part about that is that you just, and I'm glad you did that.
Let's hear it.
There's a lot of Tigers competing and having a shot to make teams, like legitimate shots. It goes to show where Mizzou has come. They haven't arrived, but they're there. Yeah. They're in the ballpark. Look at all those players. And you don't have to be highly drafted. Look at Brady Cook. Brady Cook is going to be on an NFL roster. I'm telling you right now. I hope so. I don't know if it's going to be the Jets. I think it will be.
I think he'll make this team.
He's going to make it. Once again, all the naysayers. Okay, I got to be careful. Because, you know, I love my Brady Cook. All the freaking naysayers when he went to Mizzou and was there. Oh, and then now it's like, he'll never make an NFL. All the dude does is put up numbers.
I agree.
He makes things happen. He's going to make an NFL roster, and it looks like it's going to be the Jets.
Other Tigers as well. Yesterday, Theo Weiss and Luther Burden went up against each other. Weiss had 1 catch for 5 yards on 3 targets, while Burden went 2 for 29. Burden did not play. I think he only played maybe a possession or 2 for the Bears. But Ben Johnson's been like high on him. Said he's a hard worker. He's going to be really fun.
Hell yeah, he is. And you know what? He went into a place. It's different in the NFL. You're not worrying about NIL.
You're getting paid.
You're getting paid. You're not calling your shots. Ben Johnson will fire you at a heartbeat.
Yeah.
If you're not doing what you need to do. And everybody else is at the quality and the talent level that you are. And quite possibly you're seeing a Luther Burden now who's not going to be grabbing face mask, grabbing mouthpieces out. You know, it's like, okay.
Also maturing. You got to remember, that's a 20-year-old kid.
And thank you.
That's what people don't realize. They think college players are these,
You're on fire, dude. 100%.
I think that's what the tough thing is that a lot of times you don't realize those are 20-year-olds running around. Burden especially he's not the 24-year-old 6-year senior. He was a 20-year-old true junior. Another big thing that happened, Mizzou football announced the hire of former Denver Broncos salary cap specialist, and I might butcher his name, Gaurav Verma. Verma will be hired as the program's director of football strategy and finance. So while he's not a GM, which Missouri football has been still has not hired, reluctancy to hire, it's a guy with a lot of experience managing sports budgets.
It's the closest thing to a GM.
Yes.
But the
GM has final say on decisions. He will basically manage the money and say, here's what we have for this guy or this guy or this guy.
Eli is your final decision on football. And most of my experience and people that I've talked to, they like the GM in college football. And most schools have a GM. They do. Most of these schools have a GM.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I like it. Of course I like it. It's great from that standpoint. Just like I like all the Tigers you're bringing up from the standpoint of having an opportunity to make NFL rosters and do the kinds of things that they're doing. Not only Brady, and it was also interesting. I mean, I know we're a Mizzou show, but how cool is this? Literally, you've got Brady Cook playing in a game, Saturday Night Mizzou guy. Kevin Harlan was broadcasting it. He used to do Mizzou Tigers games, late 80s?
Don't look up where Kevin Harlan went to school, though.
I know. I get it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yes, Kevin Harlan, Mizzou.
But he went. But
adjacent.
he was doing adjacent. Kevin was doing Mizzou games.
Yeah,
and then he's doing a game where Brady Cook is having an opportunity to make a team, and then it made me think too. You got Brady Cook, obviously Chaminade here in the St. Louis area, and then you have Amar Johnson. Amar Johnson was a good running back. He wasn't some incredible high school player. Went to South Dakota State.
Yeah.
Started a couple of years. He's got a shot to make that team in Green Bay. So you've got two former Chaminade kids playing against each other in a preseason NFL game, which I thought was really cool. The reason being Mizzou, my Mizzou connection in that story is obviously Brady and then Kevin Harlan. But it's interesting. You see these kids, you have dreams. You play at Mizzou and you hope. Most every kid has dreams of playing in the NFL. You do. Not every one of them, but most do. And then we get to see a kid like Brady getting a chance what he's going to do. And then speaking from that standpoint, the kids from last year too, the Mizzou kids, Hopper.
Yeah.
He's making the team. Hopper is making that team.
I think so.
And he's going to be playing, which is fantastic to see.
And Amar Johnson, the Chaminade running back, 7 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Now, I have a question about Cook. So you look at the Jets quarterback room. Justin Fields will make the roster. He's the starting quarterback. Tyrod Taylor will make the roster. He will be the backup quarterback. So you look at after the retirement of Jordan Travis, who retired from football, could never get healthy after he broke his leg at Florida State. It's Adrian Martinez and Brady Cook. Does it concern you? Adrian Martinez, 11 for 16, 152 yards and a touchdown. Where Cook, 6 for 8, 62 yards. How much more of a chance Martinez got in this game compared to Cook?
Now, the fact that they put Cook in first showed me where they thought.
Okay.
And the fact that he didn't have to play as much and he did well in the time that he had. Martinez has been around longer.
Yeah. Nebraska kid.
And what has he been, like 3 years in the NFL, maybe 2 years?
No, he's bounced around.
Maybe one more year.
Squads, I think.
My son and I were talking about this, and he's like, "Oh, I'm worried about Martinez."
This is his first season, but I believe he's been out. No, this is his first season out.
Okay, he's out there,
but he's 25 years old.
Okay, that's what I knew. There was some weird thing going on with that. I still like Brady's chances there. I do.
I think at worst you would see Brady Cook probably at a practice squad.
If you're
the practice squad,
at worst, if
you're the fourth guy, you're the practice squad QB.
But
so,
I mean, we'll never hear from him again if he's a practice squad guy.
Yeah,
But it's just something about Brady Cook to me, where he just finds a way to get on the field or be on a team.
Best case scenario for a guy who, I'm not saying.
And Cody Schrader is going to make the team again.
Cody Schrader will make that team because he's such a good special teamer, I think. But with Cook, real quick, because I do want to talk about Schrader. If he could latch on as a third string quarterback, move his way around the league as a backup. If you know the best part about being a backup quarterback? Hopefully the guy in front of you never gets hurt, because then you never get found out. If you never have to play, you get to keep being the backup. Because sometimes backups can go in and they're really bad, and you're like, oh, wow.
I had a high
We
school
haven't seen
coach
this
say
guy
it.
in forever.
High school coach, I remember him telling the players, like, it's always better to remain silent
Yes.
and wonder and let people wonder if you're intelligent or not than to open your mouth and prove them wrong or prove them right. that you are intelligent.
So if people think Brady Cook's not good enough at the NFL, stay backup QB, and then maybe he never has to get found out. We never need to know the answer.
The fact about Brady is he's still in a spot. He's still in a situation to make a team. And there are so many football fans out there that didn't even think Brady Cook would be in this situation.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about Cody Schrader. You got Kyron Williams, St. Louis kid, starting running back for the Rams. Blake Corum from Michigan probably will be the backup. And then it's an interesting 4 players: Jarquez Hunter, Ronnie Rivers, Cody Schrader, and Jordan Waters. You would have to think normally teams keep about 4 running backs on, 4 guys that can play running back. One of those is probably just a special teamer. I think that's where you could see Cody Schrader being, is that just special team guy, play gunner. And every now and then if one RB goes down, he's getting some touches late in games.
I've read articles. They like Cody Schrader.
They love him.
And it's no surprise, right? We know who Cody Schrader is. That chemistry, just having a guy like that around, I think, and we both said it, we think he makes the team. And it's another Mizzou guy. He may not, obviously he's not a star, but he's still on a team and he's still playing.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you can hope for. Latch on and get that pension worked up a little bit.
And that you want that pension money.
Yes.
Is it 5 years, 4 years now?
I believe it's 5 years of service time.
And I had a friend of mine who I played with at Mizzou.
To get the full one.
He got cut. I think it was 4 years then, maybe. I don't know if it went up to in a year.
Yeah.
But he was at 3 years, had a really good third year, and then all of a sudden he was getting cut everywhere. And it's like, wait a second. They know that my pension's there. Are they like making calls to each other?
Yeah. Is the NFL stepping in?
Yeah.
Did he get it? Did he get it?
No.
Oh.
No. Which was like,
That's brutal.
It was either 3 years or it was the 4 year, 3 years he got or 4 years. But that money, those pensions are huge. If you get vested, you get paid every month for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's how that works in the NFL.
It's tough. Yeah. But that's what these guys are fighting for. Some of these guys that are clinging on to a roster spot are fighting for.
And you're going to have some guys on this current Missouri team who I think you're going to see making strides in the NFL in years to come as well.
I think so.
Specifically from the defensive side. I
Yeah.
know we'll be talking more about, Caden Green, or not on the Missouri offensive line.
Yeah, him and Connor Tollison.
Those guys will be, they're going to be, they'll have opportunities, big time opportunities
I think so as well.
in the NFL just from the offensive side.
And it'll be really interesting. Now, we're going to take a break here in just a moment to talk to Quentin. But before we do, I want to get your opinion on, again, we've talked about it, but it feels like it changes every week. This tight, close quarterback battle. Where do you see it going as of August 11th? Because I think your answer could change every single day.
It's going to be the same. I think, haven't I said the same thing for a couple of weeks? I don't know. If I haven't, I apologize. You're going to see both guys playing.
But do you think you'll see both guys playing versus Kansas? Surely by week 2, you decide.
Yeah, I do.
Because you know the saying, right?
I know.
If you got 2 quarterbacks, you got 0.
Okay, we're just a couple of weeks away from the start. I was a player. I saw some quarterback battles. I was a broadcaster when I was doing Mizzou football with Mike Kelly, John Cadlack. I was in TV. I was a sports guy. I covered Michigan, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Tulsa, these teams over the years, and Mizzou. There's one thing I've learned. If you're 2 weeks out and you really haven't got any separation, the chances of one guy all of a sudden pulling away in the final 2 weeks, it's slim to none.
Yeah.
It doesn't, at least I have not seen that happen.
But do you really not think in Elijah Drinkowitz's heart of hearts, he's not going to say it. He might not tell anybody.
I don't know anymore after the scrimmage.
You don't think he knows?
No.
I think he does.
I don't know, man. I don't. If he does, And I know you coaches like to send smoke screens.
Think they didn't. He didn't name a starting quarterback till week 2 with Brady Cook and Sam Horn 2 years ago.
But this brings me back to what you're saying and how you probably are onto something. They knew Brady Cook was going to be the starter,
and that's what I'm saying.
But
do they? And
but
people,
Brady, I thought it was more obvious and apparent that Brady was going to be the starter.
Yes,
they did the other stuff for show. This time. If you think Eli knows, who is it then?
I think it's Bo Prabula.
Okay.
I'm standing here right now. I would be shocked
because of his play on the field.
Yes, I think he's a better quarterback than Sam Horn. I think he has more experience. It's not a lot more experience, but I think he's better for this team. I should say.
I agree with you
than Sam Horn. I would be shocked if he doesn't get the start, which will be irrelevant probably in that Central Arkansas game because, as you said, I would assume both quarterbacks will play. I think he will be the starter against Kansas.
I think he'll be the starter against Central Arkansas, and I think he'll be the starter against Kansas.
Now, if he plays poorly,
but I'm telling you,
I think his leash is very short.
If they're both healthy, I think Sam Horn's getting playing time too. I do. I don't think it's a one
against
quarter.
Kansas.
I know
that would just. I don't see the rationale in that because I think
why don't you see the rationale?
Because I think normally if you see a second quarterback get playing time, it's because the starter's not very mobile and the second guy has some legs. Like if you remember when Missouri played Kansas State, Avery Johnson came in a lot and Will Howard to run the ball on 3rd and short. He was a 3rd down red zone guy.
Yep.
To where if Sam Horn was the starting quarterback, let's say he wins the job. Yes, 2 quarterbacks will play. Bo Prabula will come in with his legs. But if Bo Prabula wins the job, I don't see a reason for Sam Horn to play at all.
Bo Prabula has not done enough to separate himself already. Do I think he should be the starter? From what I have seen and heard, yes. But he hasn't separated himself much. And we've got 2 weeks left.
Let's hope it's because they're both playing so well.
And the only reason I give it to Bo Prabula is because he has just a little bit more. He actually has game experience where Sam Horn really doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't. Where Prabula does. But when you listen to Eli, it's like Sam Horn's hanging around, getting better and better. Sam Horn can run too. Maybe not like Bo Prabula, but he's got some wheels. He's got the 4.40 time.
Yeah.
Buddy, hearing, and maybe Eli knows exactly what he's doing. And he's like, I don't know. We got this going on. But Eli got called out before. This time, I think it's more legit. The Brady Cook thing before, that was fabricated, manufactured, made up, fake. This time, I'm not so sure. Because other players are like,
I know.
We don't know.
I'm not sure either. It'll be interesting. Let's take a quick break. Let's talk about Quentin.
Break time. This show goes so fast.
Now, I want to give one thing. Adrian Martinez, who we talked about, he came out of school in 2023 last year, or 2024. Yeah, last year. He spent time with the Birmingham Stallions where he won MVP and won the UFL championship. And then last season, 2024-2025, was on the Jets practice squad. Yeah. So he has some time spent with the Jets.
Why isn't he getting playing time before Brady Cook?
I know. That's interesting as well. I agree.
Because they really want to take a look at Brady.
I think so too.
And if they wanted to take a look at Brady, what they asked Brady to do, he did very well. I
think so.
He got at least a BB+.
I agree with you. This is Mizzou on the Lou Information Station. Up next, we have Quentin Corpuel of the Columbia Missourian. He'll be joining us, and he'll be telling us what he's seen so far out of the Missouri Tigers. This is the Lou Information Station, live and on demand at louinfo.com.
The Lou Information Station, a whole new way to enjoy content created just for those.
at luinfo.com. And right now, we're joined by Columbia, Missourian writer Quentin Corpuel. Quentin, how are we? How's your summer been?
I'm doing great, Grant. Thank you for having me on the program again. My summer's been going great. I finished up an internship in St. Louis a little bit ago. Currently in New York visiting some family, staring at the Hudson River, where I thought Jordan Walker's home run from a few days ago might end up. But alas, it stayed in the ballpark. But I've had a great summer and happy to be back on the program.
Yeah, Quentin was interning with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, covering the Redbirds. Hope that was a good experience in the Lou. But let's talk about some Tiger football. What have you seen so far, just in the times you have been able to be at camp? Is there anything in particular that stood out to you so far?
Yeah, so the periods of camp that the media gets to watch, the interesting stuff happens after we leave.
Yeah.
And so it's really tough to take away much from what we do get to see, just because a lot of the drills they run are very lax and don't show much. I mean, you can't really take away that much from quarterbacks. I mean, that's obviously a hot topic of discussion. Throwing against air.
Yeah.
I remember, last year, how good Jake Garcia looked throwing against air. And, that obviously never translated to the football field when games actually started to happen. And so it's tough to take away much, but talking to players, talking to coaches, we have been able to get some insight on what's going on. And I thought Coach Eli Drinkwitz's press conference after the scrimmage, their most recent scrimmage at least, was fairly illuminating in terms of what's going on around the depth chart.
Speaking of that depth chart, everybody, I mean, let's get it out of the way. The elephant in the room, the quarterback situation. We heard Eli say in that press conference, nobody's really separated themselves so far. And it's not like he said both have been amazing. Am I misunderstanding that?
No, he's been pretty honest about the ups and downs. Both Sam Horn and Bo Perbula have seemed to undergone during fall camp. I think both of them have done great things. They've also done a lot of head-scratching things. And so I don't think one has truly separated themselves from the other. I don't think Drink is bluffing very much because he has been also honest about the fact that, hey, the starting quarterback will reveal themselves to the team when that time comes around, and clearly that time has not come yet. And if it has to be a situation like a couple of years ago where they go into the Central Arkansas game and both quarterbacks get a half, then they seem to be willing to do that. I'm sure they would like to have the situation figured out by the time Kansas comes to town, because that's going to be one of the biggest games of the season, and that'll probably set the tone for the rest of the season. But yeah, right now I think it's fairly even. Although if I had to bet right now who I think would win the job, it would be Bo Perbula.
So if it is Bo Perbula, what does he bring to this offense, not only with his arm, but with his legs as well?
Yeah, the legs are a big part of it. When he was at Penn State backing up Drew Aller, they would use him as sort of a change of pace quarterback, a guy that could test the defense with his legs. He was able to pick up a lot of chunk yards on the ground with option plays. I would highly recommend going back to the game against Wisconsin from last October when Perbula had to sub in for an injured Drew Aller in the second half. And he wasn't asked to do much with his arm, but he was capable of doing so. He completed 11 of 13 passes. Mm-hmm. But he also gave Penn State a jolt in the run game, something he was, I just think, better than Drew Aller at doing. And he was able to pick up a lot of chunk yards. He picked up some really big first downs that helped seal a win in Madison. And so he's a wonderful dual threat quarterback. I just think the passing is going to be the biggest swing factor just because we haven't seen as much of it compared to his legs.
Do you think they would play two quarterbacks in Kansas? Because I do. I see two quarterbacks coming into that Kansas game. My whole point behind that is the fact that in my experience as a former player, broadcaster with the Tiger Learford Network, is the fact, and then being a TV guy covering multiple Division I schools, if it's 2 weeks out and guys are this close, they're usually playing two quarterbacks a couple games into the year if they're both healthy.
Yeah, I think they'd rather not, but I could see it happening. So like sort of an Aller Perbula situation at Penn State where, maybe Horn takes most of the regular passing downs and they bring in Perbula on an option play on a third and short when they want to give the defense as many threats in the backfield as possible with Prabula and Hardy. And heck, you want to throw Kevin Coleman Jr. In motion, maybe post him as a threat on a jet sweep or an end around. I think that's possible, but I think they would rather just have one quarterback the entire way, just so guys get more comfortable, both whoever the quarterback is and everybody else around them.
And moving on to some other positions, the running back room I think is really interesting because I think it's pretty obvious Ahmad Hardy will be that running back one, but the backup role, kind of who will get some of the other touches, because we've seen in the last few years Missouri split time with their running backs, Jamal Roberts, Tavares Jones, Marquise Davis. What have you seen out of the running backs? In particular, someone who I've heard is shot up a lot is Marquise Davis.
Yeah, we're in a perfectly normal running back number of 77 during fall camp.
Yes.
It is not a pleasant sight, I will say. But, I mean, Drink said the other day he's playing himself out of wearing number 77, which I think is good because I do not want to see 77 on a running back.
It's almost as ugly as Horn wearing 21 at QB.
I can't get over that. I was just going to ask him that. Grant, I'm like, in person, 21 looks wrong behind center.
Yeah, I think 0 to 19, I think, is the proper quarterback number range.
Yes.
But I mean, with the running backs, Hardy, I think, is going to be the workhorse. I mean, from Beatty to round 3 to Schrader, workhorses have defined the Mizzou running back rooms for most of Eli Drinkwitz's tenure at Mizzou. Last year was definitely unique compared to the past few years. With Nate Noel, obviously he took a majority of the carries, but Marcus Carroll got a lot of the reps too. I think you're going to see Hardy take the lion's share of the running back reps. I still think you're going to see Jamal Roberts on obvious passing downs, on obvious passing third down, come in to help with pass protection just because he's so good at it. But the younger guys, especially Marquise Davis, have been looking really good in fall camp so far. Like, players and coaches have gone out of their way to compliment him. And so I think we could see him take a little bit of the carries, but for the most part, I think it's going to be the Ahmad Hardy show in the backfield.
So if it's Roberts on some third downs passing situations, how confident are you with Hardy's receiving capabilities out of the backfield? And is there another back that might be able to catch the ball a bit better if needed?
I think it's still going to be Hardy in that lead role. Again, he wasn't used much in that at Louisiana Monroe, but he is certainly capable. I mean, especially like you look at his yards after contact, both running and catching the ball is just completely ridiculous. And he is not fun to bring down. And I think that was flashed both in the running and the passing game. So I think he's definitely capable of doing both at a high level.
Well, they asked those backs to be able to pass block as well. So, I mean, I don't know much about that from that standpoint, but I know that they're probably going to be asking him to do that too at times for whoever the quarterback may be.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Jamal Roberts is going to be a big help with that for the entire running back room. I mean, Roberts was talking last year, I thought was really interesting, about how Chris Cray was a big help in helping him hone his pass blocking skills, and he has just gotten so much better at it since he's been at Mizzou. He hasn't quite been a superstar running talent, which is, what I thought, and maybe a lot of people thought he could be when he was coming out of St. Mary's High School in St. Louis here to Mizzou. But he's found a role, and he's played it really well, and I think that's something that's helped fuel a lot of the success that Mizzou's had over these past couple of years, as guys maybe sacrificing a lot of the main character role they maybe envisioned for themselves to take on a lesser role, but one that still plays a high importance to the team.
Yeah, without a doubt. He is only a sophomore, too. You could see him getting more chances in the next few years. Or will he be a junior? I'm sorry. Or is he entering his sophomore year?
I think this might be his redshirt junior year. I don't have his player profile pulled up in front of me.
I'll pull him up. But as I do that, I want to ask about the left tackle position is another. There's kind of a battle there as well that's kind of being overlooked by the QB battle.
No, absolutely. That's the quarterback's blind side. That's been well protected over the past few years with Marcus Bryant last year and then Javon Foster from 21 to 23. And so right now, at least talking to Drinkwitz last week, it sounds like Javen Richardson has been taking most of the reps with the first team at that left tackle spot. He backed up Marcus Bryant last year, although he didn't play very much. Transferred from Hutchinson Community College in Kansas before last season. And then the other candidate I'd say has a legitimate shot at it is Johnny Williams IV, who transferred from West Virginia over the offseason, played almost 250 snaps at left tackle for West Virginia last season. And so I think it's going to be one of those two guys, although it sounds like Richardson has been taking the lion's share of the ones reps so far.
Okay. Other guys that I heard Coach Drink talk about who did well, younger guys, Dayton Hopkins in the backfield a lot, allegedly. Khalil Jacobs, a linebacker. I don't know if you've heard about those two making strides, but I love seeing Dayton being a new guy and a guy with a lot of size catching Drink's eyes in the last scrimmage.
Yeah, Dayton offers a lot physically. He's a Missouri native, went to Herman High School. A lot of the young guys, I think, have flashed during the scrimmages when there is more of an opportunity for them to get live reps. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Cameron Keys. This is now the second year in a row that Keys has drawn praise from players and coaches during scrimmages out of corner. So that was positive to hear from that standpoint, because I think there are a lot of uncertainties in the cornerback room. And you mentioned Khalil Jacobs. I'm curious to see if his role is going to expand at all this year, because he primarily played on second and third downs last year when Mizzou would sub out a defensive back, when Mizzou would sub out a linebacker for another defensive back on obvious passing downs. Jacobs would be that rover over the middle of the field that was largely responsible for spotting on the quarterback. And he's really good at tracking them down. He has excellent sideline to sideline speed. But I'm curious to see, even though there are only going to be most of the time two linebackers on the field for Mizzou, I'm curious to see if Jacobs gets more time, as it looks like Tristan Newsom and Khalil Jacobs are going to get most of the reps out there at linebacker this year.
And I want to correct myself. He will be a redshirt sophomore, Jamal Roberts will. So third year, but 3 more years of eligibility. Another defensive position I want to ask you about, because it felt like it was a spot that struggled at times last year, the cornerbacks. Because you can have great, 8, 9 guys on defense, but if your corners aren't up to par, your defense will probably still get exposed. What's going on in that room?
Yeah, no, definitely something to look out for, because it cost Mizzou a handful of points last year in numerous games. And it sounds like Drayden Norwood has locked down his spot as a starting corner. The CB2 spot has been the one that's been up for discussion. You have a returner in Toriano Pride Jr., who had a couple of nice pass breakups last year, but did also have a handful of lowlights as well. You also have Stephen Hall, the transfer from Washington State, who was a team captain last year, put up some fairly solid stats on what was a pretty terrible Wazoo defense last year. And you see, like John Mateer, who was the quarterback for Wazoo. A big part of why he had such gaudy stats is because he had to play Superman to make up for the Cougars' struggles on defense. But Stephen Hall's been drawing pretty positive reviews in camp, specifically for his work ethic. I think that stood out to multiple players, especially on that back end. And so that's, I think, going to be similarly to quarterback on offense. I think the cornerback spot is going to be a big swing factor on defense, because the front seven right now looks pretty nasty. Yeah. And I think that's going to be one of the stronger front sevens, not only in the SEC, but in the entire country. And so,
boy, that sounds nice. Can you say that again? It just sears. Gosh, that feels good. Sounds good all the way. Seven? Sounds like you're talking about Alabama from a few years ago.
No, seriously. I think a lot of people have high expectations for that front seven. And if the back end is able to hold up their end of the bargain, we could be looking at one of the better defenses in the country this fall.
Now, why don't you first, would you think that corner that might lose the job, I don't know who it will be, but let's say it is Toriano Pride or Stephen Hall, I would think they still will have a big impact in that nickel spot, maybe being the third corner. There'll still be a lot of reps for that guy.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to want to rotate guys in the corner, similarly to what they want to do with the edge rusher room, because at least at the edge position, they have, I think, 4 starting caliber guys, and they're going to want to rotate them in pretty frequently to keep them fresh. You're going to see something similar at cornerback spot. I don't think they'll be as good as the edge room in terms of impact, but they did that a lot last season with Pride and Nick DeLoach. who saw some pretty ample playing time, especially over the middle part of the season. I'd like to think they're going to do a similar thing this time around.
Now, tell us about the front seven. That might be one of the best in the country.
Absolutely, yeah. On the edge spots, you're going to have Zion Young, who was immediately impactful last season after transferring to Michigan State. On the other side, in that joker spot, so the edge rusher that might have occasional coverage responsibilities is going to be Damon Wilson, the transfer from Georgia, who was one of the top transfers in all of college football. I think Mizzou paid a pretty hefty price to get him, but he should be immediately impactful. And then elsewhere out on the edge, they get a really good G5 player from last season, Nate Johnson from Appalachian State. He put up some pretty good numbers with the Mountaineers. And then I think somebody who I'm curious to see how impactful they're going to be is Langdon Kitchen, who transferred from Northwest Missouri State. Put up some pretty solid stats. That's at Northwest Missouri State. I'm curious to see how much that's going to translate to the SEC. And then up the middle, it's going to be Chris McClellan, who, again, was immediately impactful after transferring from Florida last year. I think he's going to be playing a lot of snaps, especially with the loss of somebody like Christian Williams, who was a captain last year in the D tackle room. And then next to him, it's probably going to be a rotation of guys, but it's going to involve Sterling Webb, Marquise Gracial, and Jalen Marshall in some combination. I think that's going to be a sneaky big swing factor just because even when Blake Baker was the DC at Mizzou, they were able to succeed a lot on the interior because, A, they had a lot of capable players that just took up a lot of space and were able to stonewall people in the run game and not offer much to the opposing quarterback in the pass game. And they also just had a lot of them. The quantity of players they had was pretty impressive in 22 and 23. And you could throw last year in there too. So I think that defensive line, if the D tackles can be as good, if not better than last season, they're going to be perfectly fine on the edge. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And Webb and Graciel, who you bring up, those are two St. Louis guys too. Obviously, we're a St. Louis-based show. People here love to hear about the St. Louis guys doing well. Graciel from St. Charles High, just for people reminded of him, and Webb, who spent his high school at Westminster. People may forget about that. Webb was also a transfer in.
There you go.
Good to see the St. Louis guys getting on the field at Missouri. It's one thing to get a scholarship to an SEC program or Mizzou, but as you bring up with Jamal Roberts and some of these other kids, they're damn good players. Could be starting a whole lot of other places, but that's the kind of talent that Mizzou now has.
No, absolutely. And guys seem perfectly comfortable if they're not getting the lion's share of the reps because whoever's in front of them, or sometimes the starters have been even talking about the guys behind them, are just as good, if not better than them. And so I think both the quality and the quantity of the good players they have on defense is going to serve them very well this season.
Now, Quentin, I asked you a question a few weeks ago that was very hard to answer, but now that we're getting closer, I think you can have more of an answer of it. What are your expectations for this season for the Tigers? And if you had to give a record prediction right now, what would it be?
Yeah, I was asked about this on another pod a few days ago, and I think the range right now for me is 7 to 9 regular season wins.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty reasonable expectation to have.
I would agree.
Just because, I mean, you think last year to this year, Auburn's probably going to be better. Oklahoma's probably going to be better. Just those two teams, Mizzou won those games last year in completely ridiculous fashion.
Yes.
And both of those games were at home. They have to travel to Auburn and to Norman this year. And those are going to be difficult games. And so I think there's a chance that the team is as good as last year, but it may not reflect in the record. Just because I think the schedule, while easy compared to everybody else in the SEC, is still pretty difficult, especially considering that 4 of their last 6 games are going to be on the road in fairly tough environments. And I include Vanderbilt in that because this is not the same Vanderbilt we're used to growing up with. Like, this is a different program that, although not in the upper echelon of college football, they've proven they can pick off some really good teams, as proven multiple times last year. And Mizzou has to go to Nashville this year.
Now, do you think there's a world where 9-3 could get you in a playoff if some of those wins are over the Alabamas, A&Ms, or South Carolinas?
I have a really hard time with it just because I don't think Mizzou is going to have those multiple signature wins.
Yeah, correct. Strength of schedule compared to others.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have those multiple signature wins. That it will take a 3-loss team to get into the playoff. I think of like Auburn in 2017. I think a big reason why they were still in the top 4 despite having 2 losses is because they beat the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country.
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
That's going to be really difficult with Mizzou's schedule. And look, maybe Oklahoma's a top 10 team. Maybe Auburn's a top 10 team by the end of the year. I just have a tough time envisioning Mizzou going 9-3 and having the quality wins to be able to make up for whoever they lose to.
Totally agree with you there, Quentin. Thank you for coming on, and hopefully next time we'll talk to you will be to recap a game from the previous week, as we are just right around the corner for football season.
No, thank you all very much for having me on the program again, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.
Yeah, great job.
Quentin,
thank you.
Too. Enjoy New York and enjoy some family before the grind starts with football season.
Yes, sir. Will do. Y'all take care.
Thanks, Quentin. You too. That's Quentin Corpuel of the Columbia Missourian. You can find all of his great work there at the Columbia Missourian, and you can also find him on X or Twitter, as some people still call it, at Quentin_Corpuel. That was great there, Vic. So much, or sorry, just Quentin Corpuel. Corpuel is how you spell that. Great to hear from him. So knowledgeable about what's going on there with the Missouri Tigers.
The show goes by fast. We have terrific guests. A lot of people who are covering Mizzou do a wonderful job. We're just about there. Another one. The show's over already. Can't believe
we got
it.
a minute left. I just can't wait. We are what? What's the official tally? You're normally good. Is it 17 days?
Yeah, sounds good.
17 days. Who's a great Tiger that wore 17? Can you think of one?
No, but I look stupid. We were talking about Sam Horn, 21. I wore 36 as a tight end back in the day.
That made sense, though.
But not back when I played. No.
Fullbacks?
No, the only reason, I played some fullback. It was a combo. But 36 did not blend in when everybody else was 80 back in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
But they gave me that number when I went there. They said, "Oh yeah, you'll have 85." I show up and a future NFL player had that number, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I just learned what college is like."
It's very true.
So I kept it
36 all the way through.
all the way through.
There you go. Big Faust number 36. This was Mizzou on the Lou Information Station for Vic Faust. I'm Grant Salzman. Make sure to stay tuned, because coming up next is Charlie Tuna in the Posse. This is KLIS 590. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place.
You've been strong for everyone else, but let me